Inflation is picking up faster than we've seen in decades, but is it temporary? You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we're going to talk about the real deal. I'm talking about inflation and where it hits you the most. Consumer prices rising right now, and of course, the money is running out fast. You might see that Jerome Powell is telling you it's transitory. Well, the multimillionaire Jerome Powell, Fed Chair Jerome Powell, helicopter Jerome Powell, he is basically out there to tell you that this is only temporary. Don't worry whatsoever. I'm going to show you the statistics today, and of course I will bring that to you in the Money GPS insights and what you can do about it. Let's get into it right away. This is the main topic for today. U.S. consumer prices post the largest gain since 2009 as inflation ramps up. If you go through this CNBC article, they give you the basics. Inflation speeds up in April as consumer prices lead a leap 4.2%. That's the fastest since 2008. And you look right here at the CPI for April was, from a year earlier, the sharpest increase that we had seen. And of course, as they make the point further down, they say, okay, everything was down significantly in 2020. So this only looks bad because of how terrible everything was during this period. And of course, there is some truth to that. But if you're using their official statistics, you're never going to be able to see the actual truth. And that's why you come here, right? You want to know what's actually going on. You don't want everything to be filtered. You don't want it to be all sitting pretty. No, we want to know what's actually going to happen, or what has actually happened, because it's funny, they believe that they can erase history, but that's not really something that we ever want to be doing. We want to know what the truth is, no matter how hard it hurts. So they do give you, of course, the general talking points. They tell you this as one example. Energy prices overall jumped 25% from a year earlier, including 49.6% increase for gasoline and 37% for fuel oil. Okay? That right there is one sign. Look at what happened with the price of, as they say here, used cars. Look at the prices that you're paying for just about everything. Food prices, everything, okay? Everything isn't up 4%. Let's be honest about that. It is unbelievable to see what people are paying for homes right now to get a sliver of land. And of course, the prices are astronomical, going far, far faster than wages. Unless maybe people's wages have been rising considerably during this period. Have they been rising at 30% a year like the housing prices? I don't think so. So this right here is just how they manipulate their CPI statistic in order to fit the bill that they've got, the talking points, the mantra. They all speak this nonsense, and quite frankly, I'm really, really tired of it. As the cyclically sensitive components of the CPI are still rising at a modest pace, we doubt that this report will change the view of officials that inflationary pressures are largely transitory. It's actually funny when I read that, because it's literally they're just copying and pasting from Powell and Yellen and all the other fun people we have that go in front of us every single day. And you saw the little munchkin previous administration. Look at Canada, all the different examples. It was funny because during several years ago, you had the actual finance minister and Stephen Harper, the prime minister at the time. Both of them said the Federal Reserve did not bail out Canada, when in fact it was absolutely a documented fact that money from the Federal Reserve went to go into the Canadian banks and of course everywhere else. That information that they told you was a lie, and that it came out, and what happened? Nothing at all. You cannot believe these groups, these individuals, because of how much they have at stake here. We've got to get serious with the information. We cannot bow down and simply take what they give us and just say, please, sir, may I have some more? It's not going to work. You can't do that anymore, people. Come on, we got to wake up. In April's inflation surge wasn't as drastic as it looked, but the real test is still ahead. I mean, this is nothing but comedy today. I'm feeling really good here. This is a stand-up comedy routine, I feel like, and they're giving me all the material. They're just saying, essentially, same situation. Last year was really bad. It's starting to get better, so don't worry. This is only temporary. And quite frankly, I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of reading all that, but that's what they tell us. That's what I got to bring to you. And then we look at a little bit of truth here. Biggest rise in consumer prices in more than a decade is understated by half. Okay, and these are using basic, simple metrics. But I got an even better one. Look at the basket of things that you buy. Think about your rent or your house price. Think about you go in your general food. If you're buying the same food, you can't do what they do in the CPI and simply say, well, if you're not going to be able to afford steak anymore, well, you're going to eat ground beef. If you're not going to eat ground beef, you're going to eat dog food. Okay, that doesn't work like that. That's not a consistent standard of living. But of course, that's what they tell you. That's the way they do it. If we can get wise to that fact, we would start to wake up a little bit. Anyway, inflation has arrived, evident by the 4.2% gain in the consumer price index over the past 12 months. But the most significant increase since 2008 still is not fully capturing experienced inflation, since it is missing the rise in housing inflation. People right now are buying more homes than they ever have before. Inventories are dropping. You are seeing right now the frenzy to get in, so that inflation should be taken into account. They do give you all the numbers here in this article, and I would suggest reading it if you have the chance. I wanted to also bring up this. Of course, it's connected. Housing market surge is making the cheapest homes the hottest. It talks about the areas that were either depressed for some reason or they are up and coming. They also mentioned Detroit in here. I wouldn't consider that necessarily a hot housing market, but a lot of that is based on investors simply going in Detroit, Cleveland, Youngstown, Ohio, and other areas where homes can sell for as little as a few $1,000s, but they need work and so on. So this is what's happening here. You are seeing that generally this type of activity happens at the end of any cycle when there's so much euphoria, because you can't get in San Francisco, you can't get in New York, so you just go into all these areas, hope to fix and flip. So I want to know what's going to happen with this. To me, this is never a good sign. The prices have risen so dramatically. Look at Cathie Wood spewing out the same information. Cathie Wood sees inflation rising in the near term, but says innovation-based deflation will keep rising costs in check in the coming years. She said, don't worry about oil because, electric cars are going to be there. But of course, electric cars are not the only, or I should say gas cars are not the only thing that oil is used in. Oil is used in so many different petroleum products are everywhere. So of course, that might take away some of the demand, but certainly there's much more to it than that. It's not one-dimensional. You can't talk like this. Okay, but they're just spewing out the same information. Now, I got nothing against this person here. I'm simply stating the facts. I'm looking at the data. I'm looking at the details. And then you have to go underlying all of that. My goodness, look at what the central banks are doing. Look how devastating this is. Look at the stimulus coming from all levels of government. We got to be very serious about what we say, what we do, and the actions that we take right now. Look at what's going on with crude oil. It has picked up steam to a level that we haven't seen in a long time. Look at that drop that was there back in 2020. And ever since then, it's pretty much moved up in a straight line. So that is really key. I want to talk about the Money GPS insights now. I think it's really important to tie this all together. The number one thing that we have to be aware of right now, number one thing is that inflation is starting to concern economists. So some economists have been coming out and suggesting this right here is something that we need to be watching. And of course, they know this because the Federal Reserve is going to be actively paying attention to the fake statistics anyway. And if inflation starts to pick up and continue to rise, they're going to have to increase interest rates as a result. And everything is going to come down as a result of that. And what is the the actual corresponding action from the central banks? Are they going to be able to actually taper? Are they going to then ask their friends at the Treasury to start bringing the helicopter money in to take over from all of the prices that start falling? Then we have number 2. Most investors right now today actually believe that this is only temporary, that it is transitory. You ask the average person, they believe that as well because they're told that. You talk to the people in the financial industry, that's what they're saying as well. So be aware of this. And then we have number 3. Look, let's be honest here. You need to get wise to the truth, to the facts. And we know that this is anything but. So you as an investor, if you believe that inflation will persist, commodities will likely do better. Are they poised to have a correction at some point? Things have been just going straight up? Yes, absolutely. But certainly this is being really cycled through, as they call it, the global commodities super cycle. And that's something that will, of course, start to become a self-fulfilling prophecy, as it already is, pushing the prices higher. Investors should be aware of that. It looks like Elon Musk has disappointed Bitcoin holders everywhere because he said that Tesla has ended car purchases with Bitcoin, as if anybody was actually buying their cars with Bitcoin. Anyway, it's a ridiculous thing, but the prices have been pushed down as a result. The entire crypto market is getting slaughtered, not to mention Tesla stock down, as I record this video, 19% year to date. And then, of course, after hours down a little bit even further. And that's why Cathie Wood is saying buy, buy, buy. And many other people are starting to put hand over fist into the stock here, suggesting that the tech stocks are poised for more and more growth. And that sort of connects in with this altogether. We got a good flow today. Gas outages hitting the southeast. And by the way, just to interject, the shortages apparently might actually turn around because of the pipeline being back online. But they're hitting the southeast. They're getting worse amid panic buying. So regardless, people are rushing out to buy it. And of course, that's pulling from the current inventories. And that really shows you this, that it's not just your car gas, but apparently Ethereum gas are both on the rise. So this really just connects these digital and physical worlds right now. And it's unbelievable to see how it's all coming in. Now, Ethereum gas, for those who don't know, this is part of the structure of the way that this cryptocurrency and the way that their whole structure is set up. But regardless, the point is that we're seeing this sort of strange time that we're in, where you got the physical and this digital world. And right now, specifically, both of them are coming into play with each other like we've never seen before. This is just some news that nobody cares about, of course. Federal taxes and spending and deficit set an all-time record high. This is something that will continue for the foreseeable future. Nobody ever cares because the Federal Reserve and the helicopter money from the government will continue. If you haven't already, got to sign up for the Insider's email. The Insider's email is the way for me to connect to you directly. This is the way that I'm going to be able, right now I'm sending out 5 days a week. I'm sending you the video of the day, but later on there's going to be some real content and there's some information that you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of. Just sign up at themoneygps.com. If you found the video informative, hit that thumbs up button. And if you have not already, you got to watch this video. Click it and I'll see you there.